Have you ever ate some food that tastes so good that it felt like a spiritual experience? When I was a child, I thought like a child, I spoke like a child, and I understood like a child. And that's why when I was a child, I loved to eat Franco-American SpaghettiOs and meatballs. Anybody remember that? Franco-American spaghetti and meatballs. I adored Franco-American spaghetti and meat. I adored all of Franco-American's products, but especially the spaghetti and meatballs. I thought at 6 or 7 years old that I had found the holy grail of Italian food. When I'd come home from school and Mom was making Franco-American spaghetti, I would sing the commercial.
Eat brown spaghetti that'll stay on your spoon. Oh, spaghetti-o.
I was nostalgic. What child wouldn't love a dab of tomato paste saturated in fructose corn syrup with a meatball in it? Who wouldn't love that? What child would not adore that? A meatball. Then I got older, maybe 11 or 12 years old. My taste began to change. I began to like my mother's spaghetti, her rendition of spaghetti. She didn't do the meatballs though. Mom did the ground meat, the meat sauce, the ground chuck mixed in, and she would let it just simmer in the skillet all together. Oh man, it would smell so good. The thick and crisp green pepper, the crisp onions. I could smell it, I could even taste it. And it wouldn't be complete without some Lori's seasoning salt. That was her favorite. And I knew then I had discovered the best Italian food there could possibly be in the world. When I would come in from school and Mom was making spaghetti, man, with that ground chuck and that sweet smelling pasta sauce, a little bit of sugar, a dab of salt, it was just perfect. I knew it would never get any better than that. I was down in Monterey, California in the military, and I had just left an event. I was hungry, and I wanted some Italian food. And so I'm driving around Monterey trying to find some Italian restaurant, and I come across the restaurant on a corner with one of those really cool Italian names trying to trick me into thinking that they're the real deal. But I know the real deal is in Chicago at my mother's house, so you're not fooling me. I go inside, and the waiter is standing there waiting for me with a nice white napkin, long napkin over his arm, and he introduces himself, and he gives me a tie because I'm not dressed for this kind of atmosphere. I didn't know that. I just want some spaghetti and meat sauce. That's all I want. He gave me a tie. I put on the tie, and I'm walking through, and he's escorting me to my seat. And everybody in there seems so high class, so up above it all. And in my mind, I'm not self-conscious at all. I'm actually thinking, poor people. You all actually think you're having Italian cuisine. If I took you to my mother's house, oh my, you wouldn't come to this restaurant ever again, because I know what good Italian food consists of. Crispy green peppers, crispy onions. And so I sat down and I smiled to myself as I was looking over this menu with no prices on any of the items, you know, when you know you're about to pay too much money. My dad used to say, when there are no prices on the menu, that means if you're concerned about how much it costs, maybe you don't need to be there because it's going to be expensive. So now I'm in an expensive restaurant about to have what I'm sure is going to be some cheap Italian pasta that I'm going to overpay for, all because my mother won't come and visit me in Monterey. The chef comes out to my table. He's rolling my food on a cart like it's dead, and I'm laughing. What are you carrying a cart for, bro? It's just spaghetti and meat. So he comes to my table and he places the plate in front of me, and it's a big, beautiful plate, white plate. But the meal inside the plate is only like that big on this huge plate. These 3 meatballs with this pile of pasta, and the spaghetti isn't immersed in the sauce. The sauce is just on top of the pasta, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I made a mistake. This was a bad choice. And so he says, would you like some Parmesan? Yeah, sure, give me some Parmesan. And he pulls out some fresh Parmesan, and he begins to grate. And I'm looking at the Parmesan cheese and thinking, at my house, buddy, we had the nice Kraft Parmesan cheese. You don't know what you're doing, and this restaurant needs to shut down today because you have no idea how to do Italian food. Have you ever ate some food that tastes so good that it felt like a spiritual experience? I grabbed my spoon and my fork, and I twisted up some of that spaghetti on my fork, and I cut off a little piece of that meatball and dipped it in the sauce that's sitting on top of all this stuff. And when I put it in my mouth, I wanted to just repent. I could taste so many different flavors. It blew my mind. I'm sitting there trying to figure, how am I going to break this news to my mother? that she does not know how to make Italian food. How am I going to tell her this bad? I'm sitting there and this food is in my mouth like a choir. Singing to the, my goodness, what is this? And so I started eating slower because I really wanted to just savor every bite. It was so good. In Monterey, California on that day, I was introduced to the finer things. The finer things.